welcome back to the Encore Offstage podcast, a conversational podcast about all things theatre, with me, Adam Guest.
Me, Ben Bradley.
And me, Lucy GAZZARD.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's nice to be out and about.
This is very scary.
It is.
I can see you. I can see you. And it's not through a screen. It's weird. And it's very cold as well, because we're outside.
Cold. We thought we'd go, because obviously, as you know, unless you've been
Under a rock.
That you can now meet in people's gardens, socially distance, which is what we're doing.
Yes.
And we have our very nice little flag here, modelled by the fabulous Ben.
It's almost like we're professional nowadays.
Almost,
not quite.
This is awkward.
We're bearing the cold for you in the name of art.
Yeah,
very cold.
because I don't wear hats like this normally.
Not at all. It's a great hat.
It is. I love.
I think we
hat.
need to take a minute to admire Adam's magical hat.
I'm slightly jealous I didn't bring Alphonse the donkey hat with
Alphonse
me.
the donkey hat.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said hat at the end. Well, I've got a quiz for you.
You've got a quiz for me?
Yes.
Shall we start with a quiz?
We shall,
Yes.
because we want to get on with the podcast.
We do,
don't
because it's really
Because
cold.
it's really
And we
cold.
want to go inside, which we can't do.
So if you obviously everybody listen, if you can hear things, it is the sound of nature.
Yes.
It's that thing that you've missed for the past year.
Yes. Or neighbours.
And the neighbours.
Yeah.
They have dogs.
Cars.
They might be making. They might be doing the lawns. They might be doing something else that you might hear. Whatever that may be. They might be, outside sunbathing loudly
In the cold.
in the cold.
Somehow your sort of endless wanderings carry on in person,
They
as
do.
the two of us in.
They do, don't they?
They just
Yeah.
carry on.
So
It's a curse, really.
Yes.
just close your eyes and imagine you're in the garden with
I
us.
thought you meant you just wanted me to
Close your eyes on it.
Adam can have a sleep in the corner and we'll record the episode. Shall we do a quiz?
Let's do a quiz.
Let's do a quiz.
Okay.
What's the quiz about?
The quiz
Yes.
this week is Les Mis or Miss Saigon.
Oh, God.
Okay. So, good luck, Ben.
So
I'm
I've
gonna-
never seen Miss Saigon, so it's going to go.
that's
Well, I
right.
know Les Mis, so hopefully I can go.
Yeah,
That's not Les Mis.
you will see.
Oh, with your buzzers!
So there's 8... It's alright, don't worry. Don't worry.
My buzzer's over there, of course.
That's alright, that's fine, don't worry. I've thought about that.
Okay. Oh, God.
Ironically. I'm going to ask you a question each. There are 8 questions.
Okay.
8
Oh.
topics. So what you're going to do is I'll give you a line from the show,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell me whether it's Les Mis or Miss Saigon.
Ah,
That's
excellent.
Okay.
It's that simple. People at home can understand. So, what if you... Don't sue me. Who wants
Not
to go
yet, no.
first?
I'll go first.
I was gonna say beauty before age this time.
I'll keep you strong on this one. Okay, so Ben.
Yes.
Excuse me, had a cough then. Shall I join my brothers there? Is that Les Mis?
That's
Or-
lame as
Let
well.
me finish the question! Is that Les Mis or Miss Saigon?
That's Les Miserables.
It is not. Yeah, correct. It is. Well done. Very good. Lucy, some wine and say what's going on. Is that Les Mis or Miss Saigon?
I think that's Les Mis as well.
It is indeed Les Mis. Well done. Very good.
Do we get extra
See
points if we know the song?
Pardon?
Do we get extra points if we know the song?
No. That's not the quiz.
Because I know what lines that song's from.
That's good for you.
I mean, you could tell us to
That means
educate
that
us
you
all.
know whether it's Les Mis or Miss Saigon.
Okay,
doesn't
so
it?
I've got the points. Who's keeping? Oh, you're keeping score, aren't you?
I am
You're
indeed keeping
Amazing.
score.
You've got one each. God, we're interviewing out of 8. Bloody hell. Right. Ben,
Yes.
when I'm home, I won't give a damn.
I'm presuming that's Miss Saigon
Why are you presuming?
because I don't know that from Les Mis.
It might be of a song that you've not heard from them.
Maybe.
But you're right anyway. Isn't it?
Yay! I've never seen Miss Saigon. And it's one of the ones I need to watch.
Yeah.
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 I know it's on Sky Arts, a concert. I might watch
it
that.
then.
Yeah. We'll do.
Yeah. You'll like it.
Will I?
Do you like Les Mis?
I love Les Mis.
You'll like Miss Saigon then.
Amazing.
Good.
Good. We'll wrap that up.
Good. Yeah. Can we carry on?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can.
Yeah.
We can.
Lucy. Conceived in hell and born in strife. Is that Les Mis or Miss Saigon?
Oh, I think that's Miss Saigon.
It is indeed Miss Saigon. Bui doi. That's the name of the song, Ben.
Okay.
Not just random.
Just for the noise from Adam
Yeah.
in the corner. There we go.
Random. Right, Ben.
Yes.
You're the one who bought the girl for me after all. Is that Les Mis or Miss Saigon?
Now that's a hard one because obviously the purchase of Cosette in Les Mis is an important plot line, but I don't think that line's in that song. So I'm going to say
say it again? Just to be on the safe
No,
side?
I'm going to say Miss Saigon.
You're going to say Miss Saigon?
I am.
Correct, it is
Hooray!
Miss Saigon.
Hooray!
That.
Lucy, here they talked of revolution. Les Mis or Miss Saigon?
I think that's Les Mis.
It is Les Mis. Well done.
The empty chairs.
I said that before I even pressed the button. So it had been really foolish if that had been wrong. Ben,
Hello.
for how much were you sold? This isn't a question, this is just a for how much were you sold? Les Mis or Miss
Ooh,
Saigon?
I'm going to say Miss Saigon, but I don't know if that's right or not.
It is correct. Well
Yes.
done. Very good.
Fantastic.
Lucy, we'll fight like 20 armies and we won't give up.
I think that's Les Mis.
It is Les Mis.
Is it?
It is. Well done, guys. You've got them all right.
Woohoo!
Are we equal then?
We are geniuses, yeah.
What do we do now then?
We bask in glory.
Bask in your reflective glory.
Okay,
Did you
no
expect me
tiebreaker.
to have prepared a tiebreaker?
Yes, normally I do.
Flipping heck. All right then. Which one's set in France, Ben?
Les Miserables.
Yeah, well done. Very good. You do look foolish if you just said this side on.
I really, you made me think. I was like, what?
what?
The cockneys,
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't mess with me.
Amazing.
Lucy, which one's set in Saigon?
Oh, this is so hard. Is it Miss Saigon?
It is
by
Miss
any
Saigon. Very
chance?
good. Ben,
Yes.
what is the wind velocity of a Venezuelan swallow?
Right now.
Yeah.
This is quite a bit. It's really cold.
No, what's the wind velocity of a Venezuelan swallow?
Do you actually know the answer?
I'm not telling you.
I'd say 14.
Wrong. Lucy,
40. Generic.
I was going to say,
units.
does it depend if
40
it's...
what? Just 40?
It's 40.
The wind velocity,
Generic
40.
They should measure all speed
40
like
what?
that.
Steps?
So yeah.
40 miles? 40 knots?
Anything. Shall we do a
Anything goes.
I'm afraid, I'll tell you what it is, it's the fresh air that's got
It is. It's what we're 8 minutes in, and this is already absolutely delirious.
Good. Delirious. Yeah, it is. You're
That's
right.
right.
Yeah, shall we carry on?
Should we carry on?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was well done, guys. Very
Yes.
good quiz.
We did well there.
And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Lucy, you've got a guest this week.
I do indeed. My guest this week is the wonderful Daisy Blanche Twells, who I will be interviewing for this episode. Stick around.
Yeah. Should we go to her now?
Yes, let's go to her now
Let's
and
go to
see
her
what
now.
Daisy's been up to.
Where is she?
Transition. Okay.
Can we keep that in? Sassy
Transition. This is another around, where is she? Should we go to her now? Not right now.
Ben's just hid her in a bush somewhere.
She's in the greenhouse.
Is that why we're not allowed in the greenhouse? She's just been there waiting.
Yeah, you just sat there twiddling the thumbs.
It's warmer in there. Isn't it? 25 in there. It's lovely.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Today, I have the beautiful and talented Daisy Blanche Twells with us. Hello, Daisy. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very excited to get into asking some questions because you've got some very exciting news for the podcast listeners, haven't you, today?
Yes, I do. I can't wait to get into it.
Well, we'll start you off with a few easy questions. So, what I want to know is, what first sparked your interest in drama and theatre? Because you and your family seem very prevalent and into theatre.
Yes, so I've been very fortunate to grow up in a theatre family. My mum has always done amateur theatre shows, and she started her own dance and theatre school when she was 18. So that's been her career for as long as I've been alive. And I grew up seeing shows. I was very lucky to be able to go and see the local UK touring shows. And then my first West End show, I think, was maybe Mary Poppins. I think it was.
Oh, that is a great show.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first shows that I can remember seeing and remembering. And we were there for the premiere, so it was, I think there was red carpet and stuff, and I had a photo with Graham Norton, and it was a big deal. But I think the very first show I ever saw, not on the West End, was Cats. And to this day, I'm not a huge fan of the show, but that just because personally my preference is contemporary musical theatre.
Mm.
But I don't remember seeing that, but I've seen it many times after that. So yeah, I've just been brought up in a very theatre family. My mum used to play Chicago when I was like 2, and I would be sat in the middle seat going, "He had it coming," like strapped in at 2 years old. Yeah.
So you graduated from Erdang Academy in 2017. What was your experience like there? How did this benefit you as an actress?
Yes, so I went to the Hammond School prior to going to Erdang. I went for the vocational course from year 7 to 11. So at that point, everyone in my year was ready to be auditioning for diploma courses, and because we weren't old enough to do the degrees. And I didn't really know much about Erdang at the time, just that a couple of people had gone from Hammond to Erdang. So I auditioned for, I think it was like 6 colleges. I'm going to see if I can remember them now. Bird, Hammond, Lane, Erdang, Central School of Ballet, because I wasn't sure whether I was wanting to do ballet, because when I was at Hammond, I really, really wanted to go to Royal Ballet for year 7, but I didn't get in.
You had a very strong dance background, didn't you?
Yeah, so growing up, I thought ballet was what I wanted to do. And during my time at Hammond, that's when I realised I love musical theatre. And also, I didn't know much about the courses, and it wasn't as big of a thing as it is now going off to drama school. And we didn't have as many courses that they have now to offer at all of these amazing colleges. So I got offers from all of them except for Central School of Ballet. So that really made the decision for me, and it was really, you're not going to ballet school, you're made for musical theatre. And I was always told, you're going to be a Lane girl, you're going to be a Laney, you've got the legs to be a Laney girl. And I went to Lane, did my audition there, and it just didn't feel right for me. It didn't feel like that was the place where I could see myself. And then on the other hand, when I stepped into Erdang for the first time, I knew that that was where I needed to be. And I just felt like I was in Fame. I felt like I was in the Fame school, and everyone's running around, and the building's so stunning as well. And it just seemed like such a college experience rather than we are going to be producing ensemble dancers and, you know, like a market line in a way. So it was definitely nice because everyone was individual. That was their slogan. Everyone was very individual and very, very like head screwed on, in the sense that everyone knew what they wanted to do. And
very
that was
focused and driven.
Yeah, and everyone's so diverse at Erdang. So that's why I felt like everyone can fit in to that school. But yeah, I was very lucky to be offered the Leonie Erdang scholarship. So it meant that I didn't have to pay for my training, which was unbelievable and absolutely amazing opportunity for me. So of course I was never going to turn that down.
It's fantastic
when a school wants you that much, your decision's made. You're like, I'm not going to go anywhere else, because they're clearly going to do me some really good favors here and give me the best possible training.
And do you have any particular memories of your time at Erdang that stand out in particular?
Yeah, definitely. So I was lucky enough to perform in Move It in my second and third. Yeah, so I did the block piece, which in second year we got to go to the block store in London, and we all tried on leotards, and we got free block shoes and everything, and that was lovely. And then just generally, like a general memory, was living in London at such a young age, because I'm from the Midlands, and I was used to living away from home. So having that experience at such a young age was a really nice memory. And then in my 3rd year, I was part of the Move at Peace, the 80s flashback, the one that went viral on Facebook. And then also I got to do Legally Blonde as my 3rd year musical, which is one of my all-time favourite musicals ever.
Oh, absolutely lovely.
I know. And I played Margot, so I had such a fun time and role, and that was one of my last shows before I left, so it was just really amazing to be able to do that show. Out of all of the shows we had for our 3rd year, I was like, please cast me in this one, please. So yeah.
So what advice would you give to others then, if they, you know, because obviously there's quite a lot of sort of people now sort of considering, I know certainly a few of my friends have been sort of considering what schools to go to and apply. What sort of advice would you give to young people looking to sort of apply to a school, or if they're unsure whether that's the right thing for them?
Yeah, so I think right now it's obviously really difficult with applying for colleges, and I think it's really difficult for people to be making these decisions about going away this year when you can't go and see the places, because for me, I think it's really important that people are able to go and see these colleges before you know where you're spending 3 years of your life. And I just, obviously they're doing virtual open days and stuff, and they're doing the best they can, I understand that, but my best advice would be make sure that you know that you could be there and enjoy it for the entire course, because there's so many different colleges now, and each college has their niche, and it's so important to find where you fit and what is going to work best for you. And also I just think be a sponge, take every single bit of information in. If you're struggling and you need advice from someone who's trained at a certain college, or you've got a few options of where you'd like to go, but you're not quite sure which one would be best for you, speak to people. I'm always happy to answer a message in my inbox, and any advice anyone ever has, I'm happy to answer it. And, you know, I just want people to feel that you don't ask, you don't get if you don't ask.
Oh, I'm definitely on that.
So just send a message, you know, ask advice, and just don't be afraid to do what you got to do for your career path.
Definitely, you need to apply yourself for these things. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Now, you had a very exciting first job, didn't you, Daisy? Could you tell us a little bit more about your first job?
Yes, so I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got lots of mini ears, lots of Disney backpacks, because I am the biggest Disney fan. And
never have
I always said growing up, I want to work in Disney. I was probably about 8. I've always been going to Disney as a kid. I've been very lucky to go every year pretty much. And I said to my mum, I want to be a Disney princess. I want to grow up and be a Disney princess, and all the rest of it. And when I found out that this show, because I auditioned for a show in Disney, not for a character performer. When I found out that they were casting for this show, I was like, oh my God. So not only would I be able to work in Disney, but I'd be able to sing and perform in Disney at the same time. And I went into those auditions, they were my first auditions when I was in 3rd year, with the mindset of, I am getting this job. Nobody else is taking this job from me. This is the job that is made for me. Bear in mind, I was only 18 at the time. So I was only just able to start working anyway. And I didn't know where I would stand in this audition process. I didn't know whether I would get it or not. And because it was all very new to me, but all I knew was that I'm perfect for this role, for this show, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get it.
I love the mentality behind that. That's such a good attitude to have going into things.
And what made it even better was the fact that I was being seen for the role of Rapunzel in the Forest of Enchantment, the Disney musical adventure. And Rapunzel's been my favourite princess for forever, since the movie came out. She's just down there. I don't know if you can see
as well. Bloody love that.
Yeah. And I think I just embodied the character before I even knew what I needed to do. I'd never had any character training before. I just studied the movie and studied her voice, her mannerisms, and I got the job before I graduated. So I left 2 months early. Yeah, so I was more than ready to go. I was so excited to go. Like, I was at the point in my training where I'd got my agent, I was auditioning, I got a job, so I didn't need to stay for the final show. And I can remember just the feeling of growing up living away and then getting to 16 and moving to London, and now I'm moving country and I'm living in Paris, and it was just literally a dream come true. And the contract was only 4 months long, and I would love to go back and do a contract there because I just loved every single thing about that job so much. But it's just not, timing's not been right. It's all about right place, right time. And when certain shows start and contracts end and finish and stuff, and it just never worked out. But I definitely would love to work there again in the future.
Oh, amazing. Is there a particular princess you'd have in mind if you did it again?
Well, the thing is, with Disneyland Paris, they don't really have many princesses in the shows, and they don't, obviously at the moment with COVID, they don't have any shows on at all. So that's why it's not really worked out with timing, because I think I just did the best show and the best character that now I'm everything I auditioned for and everything I would do afterwards, I will always compare to that job and that show. Everything is compared to that, and nothing will ever compare to that, because it was like the baby for me. It was my first job, my favorite job. And yeah, it's just, this is the thing though, like you said, if I could choose another character, I would love to do Ariel.
Oh yeah,
in the Finn, but also I think that's because The Little Mermaid is its own musical in itself. So I think I can link that with musical theatre more than any other princess, I think. But yeah.
I mean, princesses seem to be a theme that carries on with you, because you do have your own business, don't you? Once Upon a Fairy Tale. What got you to set this up? Was it sort of your first job that inspired this, or was it something else that made you decide to start this business up?
So somebody I worked with in Disney had started their own company a couple of years prior to when we worked together. And one time she asked me to do a couple of parties for her while I was in London, when I was living there for a short period between contracts. And I absolutely loved it. And I thought, do you know what? We have nothing like this in my area. We don't have a children's entertainment company that offer musical theatre trained live singing princesses, and that's what it's all about. That is so unique in the princessing world and industry, and makes you a standard above the rest. So a level above the rest, sorry. So I kind of thought, you know what, I'm just going to take the plunge. I'm going to buy 4 costumes just to start off with. I'll invest in 4 characters, and my quality at the time wasn't amazing. It was just pretty average, and but it was good enough. It wasn't bad. It wasn't tacky. And I thought, I've got quite a lot of contacts through my mum's dance school. I can start to offer discounts to them, and then they'll tell their friends, and it just grew. It grew really quick, and I started that in, I think it was October 2018 I started it. So it's been 2.5 years, but obviously COVID taking up a whole year of it has meant that everything's had to go to virtual. So everything's either via Zoom or like pre-recorded video messages and FaceTime calls and stuff. But luckily right now we're able to do home visits again, so we're able to see the kids again. But it's been hard, but I'm so lucky that I have that as my job, because I'm still performing. And unlike quite a lot of people who've had to go and get a normal job, like a Sainsbury's delivery driver job, one of my friends is doing that at the moment. I'm so lucky that this has become a full-time job for me. What started as a side earner between contracts over COVID has become a full-time job, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I have girls that work for me as well, like self-employed musical theatre performers, so they're still performing, which is nice for them because I'm giving them performing opportunities as well. And yeah, like it's been mental recently with it. I'm getting messages every single day, people wanting summer parties with restrictions lifting and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great sort of like achievement. That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your career journey since you graduated, and how do you feel like you've grown as a performer since starting school right up to sort of where you are now?
Okay, so I graduated in 2017, which is coming up to 4 years, which has gone so quick. And I obviously did Disney, so that contract started in the May of 2017 and finished in September 2017. And then I came home. I live in the Midlands, so not too far from London, so I'm a good commute distance for auditions. And I started to get auditions through. I also had a couple while I was in Disney, which they made my agent ask me to come back for. So I came back on Eurostar for some auditions while I was there. But those auditions never came of anything. I never got those jobs. And then it's really an awkward time, September and October, for audition season for the shows that I would be seen for and cast in. But I got seen for Kudos Pantos, just for a general principal female position. And in the October, I found out I got that. So that was a panto contract doing Aladdin at the Swansea Grand Theatre from December to January. It was like 6 weeks, I think. And I loved that because I did panto as a child. I did the juvenile ensemble. I did about 3 pantos in Derby. And then I also, as a child, I was in the Chitty Bang Bang UK tour.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so I think I was only 7, but that definitely sparked my fire for musical theatre and singing and acting, because I'd never done singing and acting before then. And then I did like festivals as a kid and stuff. But yeah, anyway, jumping back. Then 2018, I was commuting for auditions still. And in the March of 2018, I found out that I booked the UK Tour of Fame. And that was starting in, rehearsal started in June. That was supposed to be a 1.5-year contract, but unfortunately I got injured.
Oh God.
Really, really badly, yeah. I really messed up my right ankle. During a show, I injured myself, and then that took me out of the show for the rest of the run. So I only got to do, I want to say, like 2 months of the run.
Oh, that is a shame. How's your foot now, though? Is it all healed up fine now?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's never going to be the same unless I have surgery, but it's not
hindering you.
Yeah, grow every day. It's just not the same as it used to be. So I was ensemble in Fame. First cover Carmen, second cover Miss Sherman, and second cover Miss Bell, which was a very, very strange track. Because I was covering Misha Paris, soul singer Misha Paris, who was playing Miss Sherman, and then another teacher, and I was the youngest in the cast. So it was very bizarre, very, very bizarre, but definitely a challenge. I went on for Carmen just before I did my ankle, 2 days before I did my ankle. And then, so I'm glad I got that in before my time with the show finished. And then after that, I had to kind of take a few months to recover and get back to normal. So I'd already accepted a contract for another panto while I was doing Fame, because my plan was to do a panto on the break of the tour. So I still did that contract. I went on to do Dick Whittington in Plymouth from 2019 to 2020. No, 2018 to 2019. And then that finished, and I decided, you know what? Now's my time. I'm going to move back to London. I'm going to move back to London, and I'm going to aim for the West End. That was it. I was like, I'm aiming for the West End. And after, like, how unfortunate things were with Fame and the fact that it ended so sadly, I was like, I need to really knuckle down, you know, do my physio and focus on getting in a good job, a really good job that is suited to me. So I was auditioning, just living the London life, and at the same time I was working at Shrek's Adventure, which is like an acting job, which was, again, I'm still performing. And at this point, I was a couple of months into running company, so I was doing a bit of that as well, going back and forward between Derby and London. And then I auditioned for Hairspray for Royal Caribbean. And I don't know if you've heard, maybe you have, but generally Royal Caribbean auditions are really weird, and you never know how it's going to go. And that was the case for me, because I'd auditioned for them twice before and been cut straight away first round. So I didn't really expect anything of it. I went into the singers call first, and they recalled me for Amber, and I got that job, and that I knew that was going to be a big one, because that was a year contract.
Such an incredible opportunity as well, because their shows are fantastic quality.
Yeah, they are Broadway, those shows. And I found out in the March about that of 2019, and then I left in the May, and the contract was from mid-May to the beginning of May 2020. And the schedule on the shows is on the ships is very different. It's, you do the Broadway show and then you have another production show. So the other show that we did was called Flight, Dare to Dream, and it's basically about all the history of aviation. And I loved that show, but because my bigger track was Amber in Hairspray, I had a smaller track in that show, and we did 3 of each show a week. So it was a really nice schedule, really chill. We had loads of time to travel and see all the ports that we were going to. I was based out of the Caribbean, so I got to see Mexico, Bahamas, St. Martin, St. Thomas, and my home port was Miami. So I was basically living in America. That was my home country. And then obviously COVID happened, so my contract was cut short, but luckily we managed to have a really good run of it, and we only had a few weeks left. But I got stuck on the ship. I had to quarantine, and I was in a guest cabin by myself, not able to leave, getting my food brought to me every day. Oh my gosh, it feels like a blur. The whole thing was a blur. Just
How long were you quarantined on there for?
I can't even remember. I think it was something ridiculous, like 3 months.
That is insane.
All I remember really was that we went in at the end of March, and I didn't get home till the 1st of June, but I went onto a different ship which sailed over from the Bahamas to Southampton, with all of the British people on. So that was amazing because I didn't have to fly back in the height of the pandemic. And I sailed all the way across with all my luggage, and it took 2 weeks for us to get back. And then I've been back since the 1st of June. And I've not been in one place for this amount of time for a long time. This is the first time I've really been in Derbyshire since I was 10, because I've always been back and forward and on contracts and away and everything. So I came back, and it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. It was like the break I needed. I needed this time to just chill, because I'd done contract after contract after contract, and I just love working. I was just like, I want to work, I want to keep going and not have any pauses in my career, and just take the next job I get, which is what I have done. And then I started to get some auditions through in the summer, just a couple of self-taped things, because in-person auditions weren't happening. And I got seen for Heathers, which was my first self-tape audition out of the pandemic after that job. And I auditioned for that in August, and I found out that I got the job. Yeah, so I found out in the November, and my track is ensemble, cover Heather Chandler, cover Heather McNamara. So it's a very good track.
Oh, I love Heather Chandler. I think she's...
I know. It's such a good show, and the fan base is unbelievable. The fan base is crazy. Like, the Heathers world is just its own thing. So I found out
so much fun doing that.
I know. I can't wait. I'm so excited for that show. And I worked with Gary Lloyd, the choreographer, on Panto in Plymouth. So I'm really looking forward to working with him again. And it's just been, it's all been crazy because it's only just come out. But I've known since the beginning of November. And
oh, wow, that's such a long time.
We've not been able to say anything. I know, but to be honest, I think most of the cast actually have known since April last year, because the tour was supposed to start May last year. And this is also another reason. Yeah, this is another reason why COVID has been a blessing for me, because I would have still been on my ship contract if the tour would have happened last year. So because the tour was postponed to 2021, I was lucky enough to be seen for it, because they hadn't finished casting because COVID stopped everything. So I think they'd already cast all their roles at the beginning of the pandemic in March, April time. But then they had these couple of ensemble tracks openings come up, and I was really lucky to be seen for it. Really, really lucky. And like I said, it's just right place, right time. And COVID has been a blessing in many ways, obviously for me, not for everyone. But I'm so grateful, and honestly can't believe how lucky I am with everything that's going on and how hard it is for our industry at the moment. And it still doesn't feel quite real, to be honest, because I'm just itching to get started. And oh God, it's just going to be so emotional, because I'm such an emotional person. So I know I'm just going to cry as soon as I hear September 1st, 1989, Dear Diary. I'm just going to cry. I know I will. It's like before the show even starts, because I saw it at the Haymarket in London. Before the show even starts.
Oh, yeah, I saw it at the Haymarket as well. It was such a good show.
The audience, they just scream. And me and my mum didn't know the show at all at this point. We didn't know anything about it. Just that it had a run at the other palace and that it had done really well. And everyone started screaming, and we thought, what's happened? Is there a bomb? Is there a fire? Honestly, it was terrifying.
I mean, I saw it at the Haymarket as well, and I didn't know it was like Rocky Horror where people dressed up for it. So I was like, why are there all these schoolgirls in the street?
Yeah, and everyone throwing scrunchies on the stage.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, like it's flowers, like an encore.
I mean, you have all that to look forward to now, though.
Oh my gosh. I love that, though. I love that it's got that much love, because it gets me more excited that people are excited to see it and they're supportive of, because obviously we're not the original West End cast, and I know a lot of people were hoping that the original West End cast would be doing it, but it's exciting for us because we're the original UK tour cast. So it's really, really, it's a lot of pressure, but it is really special, and it's going to be amazing. The show is going to be amazing.
So before we finish up, though, I just wanted to ask, are there any other, obviously Heathers is your sort of one of your big upcoming ones, are there any other sort of projects that you've got lined up in the pipeline?
Not really, because the thing is, with me, I'm very much just, I do musical theatre. I don't really dabble in the voiceover or commercial or TV side. I just really like to stick to musical theatre. So I'm waiting for that. But I mean, what's keeping me busy at the moment and everything that I've got upcoming is for my Princess company, and I'm planning events and stuff like that, just locally with corporate companies and stuff to look forward to in that sense. But yeah, I'm not really looking for any other work, because I don't think I really need to. I don't think I really need to focus on anything else except for Heathers. That's the only thing that I really want to put all my energy into.
So if people want to sort of find out a bit more about you, where can they check you out and sort of see all that information?
So you can follow me on Instagram. That's probably the one that I use the most. That's Daisy B Twells. And then I have Twitter. I'm not very good with Twitter. I think it's Daisy Twells again. And then on TikTok, the crazy platform that everyone's going crazy about, I use my Princess company to my advantage and do quite a lot of princess and stuff on there, and also singing covers and duets and stuff. So it's really nice to be able to use my creativity and, you know, do what I love through TikTok on there. So my handle is Princess Daisy Blanche on there. And yeah, I do have a YouTube channel where I do post Disney stuff and sometimes the occasional singing cover. But yeah, that's Daisy Blanche, I think.
You'll be getting a lot of Disney fans going over there then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today, Daisy. It's been brilliant chatting with you, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I definitely have. It's been lovely to take a trip down memory lane and think about all of the wonderful things I've done and all the things I have to look forward to as well.
Of course, it sounds so exciting. I personally myself cannot wait to check out Heathers when it comes out. So congratulations for that. That is so exciting.
Thank you. You must let know where you're going to be coming to see it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And come and meet you at stage door. And I want to come meet you at stage door.
Oh, that'll be awesome. And thank you so much again for your time today. It's been wonderful.
No problem. Thank you.
Transition. There we go. We're back. I think we should do a topic now. We're not, unfortunately. No, let's do a topic. My topic this week is first memories of theatre.
Oh!
Because I thought about this the other day, because obviously it's being announced now we're all doing Panto this year, and Panto was the first thing I saw, so I've got very clear memories of that, but I'm interested in what your first memories of theatre were.
Oh!
Who should we go to first? Someone take the lead.
I'll go first. I've got a good one.
Go on, Liz.
It's kind of relevant for you actually, Ben, because my first memory was of Dick Whittington, which of course you were doing. That was the very first panto I saw was Dick Whittington. But the odd thing is, I don't remember most of the plot. I remember sort of like him with his bindle, the cat, but the main bit I remember was when the boat crashed and there was an underwater scene. So I remember like random bits like UV octopus. Don't remember the end very much.
How old are we talking you being here?
I was quite young. I think I went
3 years ago.
yeah, so long ago. Yeah, I think I went with school, so I think I was
Okay.
about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I was very young. I just remember like the Brighton Club, and I remember the rat.
Yeah.
I remember the rat more than anything
Yeah,
because that
yes.
terrified me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because mine is Panto as well, and I was looking through. I've got a book of all my old programmes and tickets and things in order. And the first thing we've got tickets for in Nottingham is Dick Whittington, but we don't think I went to that because I've got memories. Like my first memory is the year after, so I was about 4, I think, and it was Aladdin Playhouse.
Mm.
And for a couple of years, they had this effect where there were like shadows but flying out at you.
Ooh.
So it
Oh,
wasn't the
that's
3D stuff that they have used to have at the Theatre Royal.
Yeah.
It was just some sort of shadow effect. And we sat in a circle, and apparently my grandma tells me that I was sat next to her, and I was going, "Oh, I'll protect you, because all these things were flying out,
Oh,
and I was
that's
trying to
so
get them away
sweet.
from my family."
That is so
That's
sweet.
what I'm
You were
told
cute once, weren't you?
once.
I remember the very, very, very first instance of theatre, we're going back a few years now, was at school. Primary school took us to the theatre. We saw Hansel and Gretel.
Oh wow.
I don't think it was a pantomime.
Okay.
I don't know, to be honest. I was very young.
Yeah.
But I remember going to the theatre, it being Hansel and Gretel. I know there was a cat in it somewhere. I don't know why there was a cat in it. People
Course.
thought. I remember very weird things from odd bits from my childhood. But that's one thing that I do remember. That's the first
Did
thing.
it scare you? Did the witch scare you? Because I've got a memory of watching a film
can't remember
version
the
of
witch.
Hansel and Gretel, and I still remember it. It was like a really old, grainy 70s film, and it was the witch was
Old,
actually.
grainy 70s film. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry.
Carry on.
And the witch was eating like bones of chicken, or like it was meant to be like humans,
Yeah.
and I got that like in my head. So I was wondering if that might have been the same for you.
No. I can't remember a witch at all.
Really?
Honestly, at all. There was no. I remember. I tell you what I remember. They were fighting over jelly. They were fighting over a jelly, and there was a cat. That's all I can remember. I was little. I mean, little.
I mean,
It's so weird the things that you remember because you remembered the jelly.
Yeah.
I remembered octopus and jellyfish. You kind of just, when you're that old, I kind of think you just remember the bright and
The
colourful,
shiny
things.
bright, colourful, shiny thing.
Yeah. But no, other than that, I think after that, if it was a pantomime, I don't know. If it wasn't, then it was a children's play. But I remember going to the panto. I remember Dick Whittington. But I remember King Rat and Dick Whittington. But I remember when he was beaten.
not beaten, as
Not
in
beaten.
like
As in when they defeated
yes, just like whacking his poor actor.
him. Yeah.
I mean, if it was a rubber chicken, that'd be quite funny. Just
Yeah. That was in perfect sync. That was an absolute perfect sync. To my left and right, I am surrounded by madness here.
But no, again, it's what you remember from
So-
you.
What are your memories then of like the first thing you can remember going to see specifically to see? Do you remember going?
Hansel and Gretel.
No. Like a music or something you wanted to go.
Oh,
and
that
see.
I wanted to
You
go and
wanted
see.
to go and see.
Right.
That you remember achieving getting to go and see. That's what I'm trying to.
I remember the first thing I ever saw, which I would consider my first musical, that was Cats in the West End.
Oh dear.
how old were you and how did you find that?
I was about 8. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It made, you go, oh dear, but it was like, it was in the West End, it was rotating set.
Oh wow.
It was the first time I'd seen, like, it was giant garbage tip. First time I'd considered anybody coming out to the audience.
Yeah.
The special effects that were involved. It was that sort of stuff, and it was magical for me. It was scary. I got the idea of the story. I was young, so I didn't need to have a story. Which, spoilers, if you go to see Cats, you won't get one.
No.
But being 8 years old, I was there for the spectacle. and it hooked me onto musicals.
That's quite a good jumping off point. My second musical was Cats, actually. But my first, and I didn't get into musicals until about 11 or 12. But before that, I think I'd seen like lots of children's sort of storytelling shows. But the first time I went, I would like to go and see a musical was Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that, but it's on my list of ones to go and see.
It catapulted it, and it still is today one of my favourite shows for music. I remember the whole thing really vividly. It's quite a scarring musical to start with. It scarred me, but it was brilliant. It was really, really good.
I was taken to see that when I was younger. Before I was appreciative of musicals. And the only thing I can remember in that from the time was Herod. Really? The only thing I can remember from it. So it obviously didn't scar me. I didn't know. I knew, roughly what was going on. Yeah. But it was Herod that I remember, and I can't remember who was in it or anything.
I can't remember who Herod was, or very, very much like the Herod song, but I do the crucifixion. That's what stuck for me, and the cutting of the stomach and the blood and everything. That he was so high in that visual, and being quite far in front in stalls, and just looking up at this. Oh, awful. What about you?
Mine's quite unusual actually, because it's kind of, there's two different ones, but
just pause 1 sec. I just knocked my microphone off the table.
So professional here.
Right, go back to beginning of that.
Yeah, mine's quite unusual because it's kind of two, but they've been very staggered over time, and they're for the same reason. My mum always had LPs of musicals, so she had sort of Joseph and sort of Les Mis, but the ones I loved listening to the most was Starlight Express. Loved listening to Starlight Express as a kid. We'd have it on in the car just travelling listening, and the other one was Phantom. So the first proper thing that I wanted to go and see that we got to saw, and I saw this when I was sort of like in my early teens, was Starlight Express, and it was incredible because before I'd only ever sort of listened to it on my mum's old vinyls, and then we went and actually saw it, and it was just so incredible seeing it visually because it's unlike anything I've ever seen, to be honest. All the I've never seen anything like it, just everything done on roller skates.
What happened to Starlight Express? Because it's in my lifetime, as far as I'm aware, it's never been around. So I've never gotten to it. Does it?
Yeah, it comes on every now and then, but you have to. It's very difficult because you've got to have all the rails set up. And I remember talking to Rachel Murray, who does choreography. It's very difficult to get people who can actually audition for it because you have to be able to. It's very odd, because it's very strenuous on your tendons. If you can't get into certain positions that you'd be expected to when you're skating, that's it, you're not being able to do it because you're at risk of sort of, hurting yourself quite seriously. So, and it's kind of, obviously as well, you've got to make sure you've got the theatre space that can set up all the rails to do the train races on.
I saw it at the concert in Nottingham, and they did it with a 3D projection of the rails. So they had a film sequence.
Okay.
They brought down, you had 3D glasses.
Oh, I bet that was cool to see.
I remember watching it in the West End as well, and I loved it. But he's constantly rewriting it. That's probably why it's
okay.
He's always rewriting.
Yeah, because he just renames the characters every so often. Okay. So there's one, is it sort of like Red Caboose, and then they just called him like
Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty and things. So he's had so many like name changes and things. So he's like changed the names of characters quite a lot. But the other one, and I found it was quite special, was Phantom of the Opera, because I saw that a couple of years ago, and it was with my boyfriend. So he bought the tickets, and he was never interested in musicals at all. But I'd always wanted to see it because my mum was like, I saw it with she saw it with Michael Crawford. She said it was like the best of special effects, and I loved listening to the CD as a kid. And I was like, I just want to go see that. So it was one of the ones I just wanted to see it. And he bought tickets, and he absolutely loved it. He's never been into musicals, but Phantom is what finally got him into it. So I think that was because it was special for me, and it was special that somebody who typically wasn't into sort of theatre and musicals actually really enjoyed it. So I think that was another sort of like good memory one for me, of sort of like one that I wanted to go and see. That sticks in my mind.
I think the thing, I've never actually really got into Phantom. I don't know what's something about it I never clicked with too much. But I did watch the other day all the different, spoilers by the way, different chandelier crashes. Is that something that sticks in your mind, is you remember vividly?
It's weirdly like it wasn't the chandelier was impressive, but it was sort of like the transition through the mirror and then into the secret lair was sort of like my favourite bit, because you go from sort of like her in her room and then all of a sudden you're just in another sort of like dimension of the theatre.
There's a lot of magic, isn't there, in terms of stage magic that they use as well. And it's one of those that you think, yeah, I'd love to have a go at that.
I think we need to talk about stage magic at some point on an episode, because there's so many uses of it at the moment, so it'd be...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think actually that wraps up our topic for today. And actually now, we've reached the end of our very first episode.
We have. Well, not our first episode.
Well, first episode in situ, first time being together filming.
First time, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
First time in the great outdoors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not going to work, guys. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Frozen. Cool.
No, just don't like you.
Just don't like us. Thanks. Well, on that note, this is the last episode of the Encore Offstage podcast. No, that's it. Right. Now, we can't banish Adam to the podcast cupboard, because we're not at... He's not at home. There's no podcast cupboard. So we need to think of something else.
No, we don't.
Because...
Don't you have a lovely greenhouse, Ben?
Oh, yes! How had I forgotten?
How had you forgotten? I don't know, because it's over there.
Just know that, I can just see it. Beyond the tent.
You got a window and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you what.
Am I going to the greenhouse?
We are not actually into the greenhouse, please, but yes.
Oh, why not?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right.
Be careful. It only arrived on Friday. Wait, go off into the podcast greenhouse.
Are you growing any food in there, Ben?
We are actually.
Plants?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
I'll survive till next time, then.
All right. Bye, Adam.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Have a look at
let's go have a look. Just be careful. Those steps are broken.
Oh, what?
He's alright. Okay, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Encore Offstage podcast. If you'd like to, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Encore Offstage Pod. We also have a Patreon where you can subscribe to us there if you fancy. Link to that will be in the description down below. Is there anything else we say in the outro? Because I've totally forgotten it. No.
Nope. Over then, so long.
Yes.
Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
What Lucy said. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.